One way to tell if a battery is going bad is if it's swelling. This one still has its nice slim profile, so I think it's good. I want to be super careful. I know I'm working with metal here, and I could both scrape the console itself and tear these little stoppers, but I also just need something that I can get down inside of there with and work it around to release it. I'm going to kind of pry this loose and carefully lift it up, keeping in mind there's a couple of cables connected at the back here. Those will just pop up. I took a little bit of time finding that spring in my carpet. I'll be more careful with this one. There we go. Probably could leave these little pads on here, but I'm going to go ahead and take them off and put them back on after I clean it. There we go. That's ready to soak. There are a lot of little cables and things to remember on here to disconnect before we take this motherboard out. Got to be careful to remember that one on the back side there. Now our motherboard is free. Let's get all of the silicone pads and buttons out of here. I'm going to push in on these tabs to release the select, start, and home buttons on the bottom there. And I'm going to carefully push in on these little clear plastic things that are our light indicators and get all of those out of here too. We can carefully turn this thin little washer around to get it out from underneath there, and then by just putting that corner in, we can get our little thumbstick out of the way. I'm using very careful pressure, evenly just kind of going around the edge, pushing up underneath here to release this touchscreen. It has a double-sided sticky tape that goes around the entire border, which I'm going to try to just keep rather than cutting my own replacement double-sided tape. We almost have it. There we go. Once again, using a dental pick here that can be very dangerous to use around the plastics if you're not careful. I could scratch this really easily. But again, I want something that I can get in here and work around and try to get these little stickers out of here because I want to be able to reuse them. And I haven't found a better method not using metal. We just push kind of down with pressure and up while this is closed, and that pushes this back cover of the top screen out of the way and we can lift it off. Let's get that little piece out of the way. Now we have an issue. This little corner, I see a crack in it, and I knew it when I went into the system that it was cracking or somewhat broken. My guess is that somebody has super glued this to hold it together, because the rest of this mechanism that I would have to take apart in order to access the hinges to completely take this system apart, it seems stuck like it is glued together hard. And it might not be the worst thing, because this corner over here has a very tricky ribbon cable section that I'm comfortable doing, but most people probably aren't going to want to go that far if they're taking apart their 3DS XL just to clean it. So I'm going to leave it there. We're going to start the washing process, and that's as far as we're going to go with the teardown. Let's let that soak, and we'll start doing the rest of our clean here. There is quite a bit of gunk stuck around this edge here, and even using my Q-tip and isopropyl alcohol, I'm not quite getting it to come up, so I'm using my pick again here. I wouldn't use this if this were a surface, because I'd be very nervous about scratching it. But I am going to just very carefully run this dental pick in here sometimes to loosen up some of this gunk that isn't coming up. And we'll just take our time, clean slowly, not make big mistakes. If I were able to do a complete teardown on this one, I would normally soak these pieces and I wouldn't have to clean it this way. But because I'm not able to access the hinge system because of the super glue that was used in there, I am relegated to working on it like this. But it's working out. We're going to save this bottom part actually for our soapy water. As long as the top part is good, we'll call that good. Just going to spray a little bit of BW100 down here on our joystick since we have it apart and give it a good clean. Probably okay, but some of these things like this I like to just do this preventative maintenance on while I have them apart. I'm going to do the same with this slider here. Very carefully going around the edge here with my Q-tip. I don't want to put so much pressure as to accidentally scratch anything. We're just making very light, gentle circles to help loosen up the gunk on there. Now I'm going to use my glass cleaner on my microfiber cloth and give that a good wipe. Dry it off and get any loose dust particles from our microfiber cloth and Q-tip. Clean the edges, get some of that Q-tip fuzz that unfortunately stuck to my tape. This stuff soaked for long enough that most of our gunky buildup from the soda pop or whatever was spilled inside of here is gone and you can't really see it. But it definitely is worth it for me to give it a good brushing anyway. It might not show up on the camera, but it is definitely getting cleaner. That little spot is actually a wound. I'm not going to be able to clean it away. These 3DS XLs have so many pieces. I'm not even going to try to show all of them in the final video. Okay, I'm just going to keep the important electronic things out of the water and clean this bottom part with my toothbrush and the soap. I'm using my fingers here to hold the speakers in place so that when I turn this upside down, they don't come out of the holders. There's also tiny little plastic film cutaway square things underneath these speakers that very easily fall out and get lost. Any more pieces? I think we got it. I am using my metal tweezers here because they just grip it quite a bit better than my plastic ones do. I'm being very careful though, and I give you fair warning, it's easy to tear and damage these ribbon cables, so be cautious. We want to make sure that these are lined up correctly when we put any of these sliding mechanisms back together. This wasn't 100% the deep clean that I was hoping for. We weren't able to take the entire system apart, but I think this is as far as most people would want to go if they are cleaning their own thing. I have one more working, good, clean 3DS XL that I can play Mario Kart on, so that's good.